Oh, we got to get that on.
Yeah, just
All
hit
right.
record. So we
Yeah.
missed the opening.
So I want to start this off. Make sure you listen for insights, not information. Too many times we get on webinars or we listen to an audio book and we're like, yep, that was great information. And then just move on to the next thing. But what you really need to listen to are what are the insights? What are those aha moments? That kind of lightning flash, that thought flash that comes to you and says, yeah, that's what I needed to hear. The insights are where the transformation happens. So tonight, I want you to be listening for the insights, not just getting the information. In fact, they're so important. Like, this is what I coach on. Like, I coach on giving people the insights because the insights give people the direction on where to go next. I had a couple mastermind groups today, and we end the call by talking about, on this call, what were the insights that you got? Because I want to make sure, one, they get the insights and then they act on the insights, because that's where the transformation happens. So just wanted to start off with that. And that might be the one insight you need, because take that to anything you do in life. Look for the insights, because when you tune into them, and that's part of the mind, your reticular activating system will start picking up on these insights.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because a lot of times you kind of get on these things, and I'm guilty of this, and you just start taking notes and notes and notes, and I'm like, it's almost like you're trying to just capture everything that the person's saying. So
Yep.
just what you're saying is just like almost kind of just what's speaking to your heart at the moment. Is that what kind of what the
Yeah. And it's speaking to you for a reason. So then, and I'll talk about this. So you guys make sure you listen to the podcast that drops tomorrow. But number one, you got to get the insight. So you got to be tuned in so you actually hear it. And then you got to act upon it, because action is where you actually make things happen. But then the next level is then share that insight with other people. Because I truly believe the insights aren't only for you, they're meant to speak life into other people as well. So always be tuning in, even when you're having a conversation with somebody else. And here's another distinction too. Listen for insights, not agreement. Because a lot of times we shut down and we stop listening to people we don't agree with. But a lot of times there's great insights you can get from them. You don't have to agree with other people. There's a lot of people I interview and I don't agree with their point of view a lot of times, but there's definitely insights that come from our conversation. So always be looking for the insights.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good, man. And speaking of just like that type of stuff, so one of the things we were going to talk about tonight is these sabotaging thought patterns. So one of the things I thought we could kick this off with is talking about the victimization thought pattern. And I know I personally went through this as well. And it's kind of funny in a way, because over the course of the years, I've watched other people have that victim mentality, right? And you see it like sometimes like in a video that you watch online, or you hear a friend talk about something and you come away from that and you're like, oh man, they're just being a victim with all this, right? But when I kind of got into that spot of like my business collapsing out from underneath me, I definitely got caught up in that myself. I started to actually question whether or not I was a good marketer. I started to point to other circumstances. Oh, my business collapsed because of COVID, COVID. But at the same time, people were thriving during that time. I know people that I know a friend of mine personally that became a millionaire. Victimization mentality, and started blaming everything and everyone for the reason my business was collapsing. So how dangerous is that to a business? And what does that look like? And what are some things people can do to overcome that thought pattern?
The victim mentality is one of the most dangerous mentalities. And that is because a lot of times it's unconscious too. We're not realizing we even have that mentality.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you have those thoughts of life happens to me, and these things are always happening to me, and I'm questioning, am I a good marketer? Why is my business doing this? Why is the economy like this? It's always doom and gloom, and you're playing the victim. So number one, it's wake up that life doesn't happen to you. Life is happening for you. So just that distinction can shift everything. It's because here's one distinction I want you to get. Nothing has meaning until we give it meaning. So you can look at the exact same situation. So one person, let's say that the COVID hits, pandemic happens, your business goes away. Like Chris said, he lost 95% of his business. He could look at it through the lens of this is happening to me, or could look at it as this is happening for me. And when he shifts the lens and says, this is happening for me, he can actually get the lessons. What is this trying to teach me? And how can I pivot? Versus what a lot of people do, like all this stuff is happening to me. It creates a negative mindset, and everything is energy. It creates this negative energy, which attracts more negative things, more negative thoughts, more negative feelings, more negative experiences. And then we take action out of that negative vibration that we're in, and we get more negative results. So shift it. Life's not happening to you, it's happening for you. A good example of this is the story of the two brothers. One brother was really successful, millionaire, very successful business. The other brother got strung out on drugs and ended up homeless. And they interviewed the two brothers because they're like, it's complete opposites. So they asked them both the same question: how did you end up this way? And both brothers had the exact same answer: I had an abusive father. One of the brothers that got strung out on drugs looked at that like, I'm the victim of this. This happened to me. I'm worthless. I'm no good. Got strung out on drugs, ended up homeless. The other one said, this happened for me because I'm an overcomer. I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to go out there and make something happen with my life. And just that one distinction, life didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Then he could go out and create the success that he was called to create. So that's first levels. Doesn't happen to me, it happens for me. That's where most people stop. But the next level is life happens by me. And that's when you realize it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions that are out actually creating the experiences that you see in your world. Because your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. How you're thinking, how you're feeling, and how you're acting leads to the results that you're getting. So then you have that distinction. Life's happening by me. Let's take Chris's example. He could have stayed in this stuck position forever, thinking and not changed his thinking. And he would have just kind of gone down that spiral, which he did. He actually shared on one of the webinars before that's kind of what happened to him until he made the shift. And he realized, hey, this thinking does not serve me. Yeah. So I can change my thoughts. I can change my feelings. I can change my actions and change the results. So then you start to realize life's happening for me, but it's also happening by me. I'm creating this experience. And then the highest level is life happens through me. So not only are you affecting your own outside world, but you're affecting the people around you, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. It comes down to those three things. If you learn to control those three things, your world can change. When you change your inner world, the way you think, you change your outer world, your results.
Right. Actually, I heard or saw a Facebook post the other day that was really an eye opener for me. This guy had made this comment, and it was I forget what it was. It was one of the crazy things going on in the world at the moment, right? And some lady came in and she commented underneath, and she goes, "Oh wow," she's like, "I didn't even know this happened," and it was something that happened like a few months ago that he was just kind of now talking about. She's like, "I didn't even know this happened." She said, to be honest, she's like, "I completely have cut off like all media, like having any type of like news, reports, radio, that sort of thing." She's like, I do some social media and see some things from time to time on here, but what she said is that my world consists of me and my family and pursuing my passion, which is art. So, and she was like, I love to paint. I paint almost every single day. And she goes, and that's what my world consists of. And she's like, the world I'm living in is actually a very beautiful world. And I was reading this and I was just like, wow, like, and that kind of goes to your point here of like life happening through me, right? So it's like she's creating the type of world that she wants to live in. Now, it doesn't mean, I guess, that those things are not happening in the world, but it doesn't exist in her world,
Yeah.
So like, I think that's really powerful because we can get, with all that information that's getting thrown at us, it can make the world look like a very, very ugly place. But there's actually a lot of beauty in the world. And I'm
Yeah,
almost certain that like if the news were to flip the script and start reporting all these amazing and wonderful things happening in the world, we would see the world in that way.
yeah, yeah. And that's why we have to choose how we're seeing the world. And a great distinction is check in with how you're feeling, because feelings are either positive or negative. We talk about I'm not feeling so good, or I'm feeling great. That's basically saying like I'm consciously aware that I'm in a high vibration. We don't go around saying that. We say I feel great. We don't say I'm consciously aware I'm in a low vibration, but we say I'm not feeling so good. I'm feeling bad. But then we use other language like she hurt me. He upset me. My feelings are hurt. Here's where I want you to get. No one else can make you hurt.
Mm.
You consciously chose to feel hurt because of what they said and how they acted towards you. And that's
Mm.
a hard one to get because some people can make you upset and angry and things like that. But actually realize that's you consciously making the decision, or actually not even really consciously. Most of the time, we don't even think about it. It's unconsciously we react, but no one can make you feel a certain way. You actually chose that feeling. But when
Here's
you get that aha and realize I'm choosing to feel like this, I can actually shift it in that moment. And no matter what they said to me, I don't have to accept their thoughts and their feelings towards me. I can choose the way I see the world. I can choose to not believe what they're saying. I can choose to focus on the good that's going on in the world and shift out of a negative vibration into a high vibration.
Mhm.
So don't let others affect your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
Well, that actually brings up a point I wanted to. Matt, this is something I've been meaning to ask you about because I had this thought like a few days ago. So if you go into the online space, right, so social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you see a lot of people taking offense to what other
Mm.
people are saying. And some of these people are actually some of the same people that I see over and over again taking offense with this, taking offense with that, almost like they're looking for things to be offended by. And it got me to thinking that, like, that type of mentality, being offended is almost like a drug in and of itself. And they're actually looking for that next hit of being offended, but that's like self abuse, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, what causes a person to go down that road to like, they're just online or whatever, or even in their daily life with their family or whatever, or their friends, they're offended and looking for a fight, sort of thing.
Mhm.
What causes that? And if somebody on here, a lot of times I think we can even say to ourselves, oh, that's not me. But, I find myself sometimes getting offended by things online and throwing in my 2 cents, so like, what causes that?
Yeah. Well, first is looking at that old saying of hurt people hurt people. So a lot of times, like if you post something and somebody gets offended and they want to put a angry comment on there, it has nothing to do with you personally. And there's a lot of times, especially people that are close to you, if they feel like you're having success that they're not having, they try to pull you down
Mm.
because it's their own mentality of I don't like to see the people around me grow. It's this lack mentality, which is one of the ones that sabotages your own belief. If you have a lack mentality, that there's not enough abundance to go around, that you have to hold on to, whether it's your marketing, like being a chiropractor. I mean, there's tons of chiropractors around us, but some chiropractors have the mentality like, this is my city and I can't be friends with other chiropractors. And it's such a limited mindset. Man, we're friends with all the chiropractors around here. There's plenty of people to go around. But a
Right.
lot of times when people have that lack mentality, they look at, oh, other people are having the success that I want. I'm not having it. So I'm going to try to bring them down. I'm going to put hateful comments. I'm going to disagree with everything so it can validate me and how I feel.
Mm.
So, and that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're on social media. A lot of the other people, what they're saying is out of their own paradigms, their own belief system, the way they see the world. And that's one of the hardest things to watch that's gone on through this pandemic is such the divisiveness that's happened on social media. And you're not going to change anybody's mind by a comment you make on social media. So don't waste your time, energy, and effort getting upset trying to change somebody's mind with a comment. Don't even waste your time doing that.
Yeah, because it really just puts you into that. They're bringing you down to their vibrational tone, and I'm
Yes.
guilty of it, right? And my wife has told me, she's like, just do what I do. And my wife is amazing at this. She's just like, when the first negative comment I see, it's block, delete.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't even engage with it. And would ask me, why are you even engaging with that person?
Yep.
Like, to your point, you are not going to change their mind. But sometimes we have this thing, oh, I'm going to say something that's going to change their mind. Or you just like, sometimes you have this mentality that you're just like, you know what? I know I'm not going to change their mind, but I'm just going to try and stick it to them and prove my point. But it
Yeah.
really gets you into this, like, this whole, a very negative mindset. And then when you're focused on doing stuff like that, how focused are you on improving your relationships? How focused are you on taking your business to the next level? How focused are you on making sure that your health is a priority? So we spend and waste all this time on people like that, and it's just not good.
And again, it comes down to, and if you're taking notes, write this down. Everything is energy. Success is energy. Money is energy. The way we feel, thoughts turn into energy that turn into things. Everything is energy. So you got to protect your own energy. So that's one of the best things to do is always check in with your energy. How am I feeling? Am I starting to feel down? That's bringing you into a lower negative vibration. So you need to raise your vibration. One of the best ways to do that is to focus on gratitude, focus on love. Those are the most powerful forces that can bring your energy back up. So, like looking at things like the news, social media, those things in and of themselves, you could watch them all day as long as you don't let them change your energy and you're fine. The problem is there is so much negativity and stuff going on there that it's designed to give you those dopamine hits and then actually to shift you into this vibration that becomes negative.
Mhm.
So I protect myself by not watching it, but it in of itself, it's not a, I won't say it's not a bad thing, but as long as you're protecting your energy, it can be okay. And
Yeah.
I wanted to say that to lead into Ashley's comment, because yes, definitely around family. Family can be worse than social media. So one of the best things you can do is going in and protecting your own energy around family. And this isn't saying cut off your family. For some people, it is, hey, I need to not go as much or stay as off or stay as long because they do bring my energy down so much. So maybe you need to protect your energy there. But one of the best things you can do is prepare yourself even before you get there. Say, okay, if you have a family member that makes rude comments or they're always trying to bring other people down, tell yourself, hey, I'm not going to react to that. I'm just going to love them. And I'm going to stay in this place of love, spend my time with them, and then I'm going to leave and go on my way. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to let them trigger me because you have to actually protect your energy, keep yourself in that high vibration so you don't lower down to their level. And there is part of that. The opposites attract. So a lot of times if they see you at this high vibration and they're vibrating at a low vibration, here's another distinction. The strongest frequency wins. So a lot of times they try to go at you to bring you down to their level. So the strongest frequency wins. You got to keep your energy up, protecting your thoughts, your feelings, focusing on love, gratitude, peace, joy, all those things. And if you have the strongest frequency, you can actually bring them up.
Yeah. And Ashley, just a quick story. Um, I actually had to semi cut off my own brother. So I was having phone calls with him almost daily. And my brother hasn't worked in 3 years. So his wife takes care of him, and she works, and she actually works two jobs, and he's just like a bum, right? But he's my brother. So like, it's like, he's my brother. I love him. So like, I would call and I would talk to him. And initially it was me trying to talk to him about like, hey dude, like, you need to step it up and like, get a job. And I was trying to do it in the most brotherly way, as brothers are. And but what ended up happening was I actually started sinking into his level of thought on things. So what ended up happening was it got to a point where I said, I can't talk to him anymore on the phone. So I actually blocked him. And we had a disagreement one night on something and kind of got into an yelling match, an argument over the phone. And after that, I'm like, I can't do this anymore, and I just blocked him. However, I have a group chat on Facebook with my mom, my dad, and my brother, and we communicate through there. Like, I call my mom probably like once a week, sort of thing. and talk with her, but I talk to my brother through that group chat. And it's been great. Like there's not, I mean, every once in a while we get into a little brotherly bickering or something, but for the most part, it's like, and my business has changed since that, since lopping that dead weight off, even though he's my brother. It really had a big impact on how things changed in my business and even in my personal life. So that might be something if you have family members that, you know, like we're referring to, it could be that, like, hey, like I can't talk to them all the time on the phone. I can't have verbally, but like, you know, maybe we can talk through text or something. I don't know, just the thought, just, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at Danielle's comment too. It's thank you for the reminders. But yeah, also friends with all the Kairos in her town, but they don't speak to each other. I see that all the time too. And that's one good way to measure other people's mentality. If they're not speaking to others, it's because they have that lack mentality. And the opposite of that is having that abundance mentality, that there's more than enough people for everyone. There's more than enough resources. For the most part, it's not a lack of resources that's holding you back. It's a lack of resourcefulness. So if you realize, I mean, there's abundance all around us and we focus on that, then great things will start to happen. But that's a sad thing I see all the time in a bunch of different professions. They look at each other as competition, and they have this lack mentality that you got to go in there and shift it. You got to be the abundant thinker, because again, they can start to wear off on you. So you got to protect your energy.
So another thing that I know that people do when it comes to self-sabotage is procrastination, you know, kind of just putting those things off. You know, we all have like these goals and things that we want to do, and we can kind of like talk ourselves up and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. We have all these great ideas. I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And then when it comes time to actually start implementing them, either we don't do them or we put them off to last minute, and you know, then it creates a lot of stress in our life, and
Yeah.
that's not good. So like, what are some things people can do, do you think, to like overcome procrastination? Like, where does that even, why do some people suffer with that and others don't? What's the difference between this guy who has an idea for something and goes and implements it right away, and this guy has an idea and then it's like, you know, 6 months later and he's got maybe half of it done?
Right. Yeah. So, and procrastination is a form of self-sabotage, right? Because it's keeping us from getting what we want. So, first, I want to give a different perspective on self-sabotage too,
Okay.
because I want you guys to realize self-sabotage can actually be a good thing. Stay with me here.
Okay.
Because
This is
let's
a
say
quiz.
it can actually tell you what you're committed to and what you don't really want. So think about people that make these New Year's resolutions that they never keep. They self-sabotage themselves because they didn't really want it. So if you have something that you keep procrastinating on, you're never really getting around to it, ask yourself, do I really want this? Am I interested or am I committed? Because you don't get what you're interested in, you get what you're committed to. So one of the best things to do is figure out, what do you really want? Set a vision that's so strong, you'll do anything to make it happen. So that's one of the biggest things, is people lack vision. And where there's a lack of vision, people perish. So get the vision that's strong enough that I'll do whatever it takes to make this happen. So that's one of the best things to do. And then, okay, if you identify, okay, but this is something I really want, but I find myself still procrastinating, what do I need to do? And I'm going to share, can I share the screen here?
I think so.
Share my iPad.
If you can't, let me know if you can share. If you can't, for some, I'll see if I can like make you the host.
Okay, I can't yet.
All right, let me go ahead and make you the host.
Okay.
Okay. Justin Mosley is now the host.
Multiple steps to share an iPad here. Bear with me. All right, so we're going to break it down, make it a little easy here. So we're going to look at the mind here. So up top, we have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject any thought that comes in. The problem is, a lot of times we're not even aware of what thoughts we're letting in. We're just on autopilot. These negative thoughts come in. I'm not a good marketer. I'm not a good business person. I suck, or whatever the negative things, they come in. And so the thoughts start to come in. And I'm a terrible drawer too. So I'm gonna say, okay, this is a brain. This is a terrible brain, but that's a brain up here. We'll just say that's a brain. Just use your imagination a
And it
lot
kind of
more.
looks like a brain.
This will be easier though. That's a heart.
There you
So
go.
our conscious mind is our thinking mind. Our subconscious mind is our feeling mind. So what happens is these thoughts start to come in, and any thoughts you allow into your conscious mind, they will start to seep into your subconscious mind, and you'll start to feel those thoughts. So if those thoughts are there enough of, man, I'm terrible at business, you'll start to feel what it feels like to be terrible at business. You'll start to feel like you lack resources. You can never have enough patience. You never have enough money at the end of the month. All these things, you start to feel that feeling over time. And the more of those thoughts creep in, the more feelings that create, those actually create our habits. So we start to act out of our habits. So they go from our conscious mind, our thinking mind, into our subconscious mind, our feeling mind, into our body. And it allows us to take action. And the action we take leads to the results that we get. So the problem is, most of the actions we take are out of this fear, this lack, this victim mentality. So here's where a lot of times it doesn't work. We've gone for so long because over time, all these little arrows coming down to the subconscious mind create habits, but those habits create a program. So the programs that we're running subconsciously are negative. We know what it feels like to lack money, to not have the business be where we think it's supposed to be. We know what that feels like. So we try to consciously think our way out of it and think, oh, this month is going to be better. But we walk around feeling like it's not. We feel like there's not enough resources. We feel like I'm afraid to look at my bank account because I don't want to see what's in there. We know what that feels like. So what we have to do is we have to shift the feeling. You have to get so good at feeling what it feels like before the results even there. And this is where affirmations are really good. So, and I want to make one distinction first off, because I think this will help a lot of people, is realizing you're not the only one with negative thoughts. You're not the only one with limiting beliefs. We all have them. And in fact, like a lot of times people, we think we're the only one that thinks like this. I was talking to a chiropractor earlier and she was like, why is my practice like this? Why is everybody else, they just have everything together? So we walked through that. It's like, first off, is that true? Do they all have it together? And we actually started talking through that. And the reality is most people don't. Most business owners or any kind, they have issues. They have staff problems. They have customer issues, complaints. All these things happen, but you're basing your point of view on what you see on their social media. You're seeing the highlights, not the behind the scenes. Same thing's happening in your own life. You're looking at the people around you thinking they have it all together. They don't have limiting beliefs. They don't have self-esteem issues or self-confidence issues. Yeah, they probably actually do. They're just not showing it to the world. So first off, no, you're not alone. And I tell people this all the time. I don't care that you have the negative thoughts. I care what you do with them. So what I want you to do is become aware of what are my negative thoughts? What are my limiting beliefs? Because then I can shift them. And instead of letting those thoughts stay in, I can actually cancel those out with the positive beliefs that come in. So you mentioned the pandemic hit and you had the thought of like, am I a bad marketer? Well, you can shift that and look at, man, no, I created a massive business. Things are going on into the world. How can I use my talents and abilities to do something great again? And remind yourself, I am an amazing marketer. And the more you tell yourself, I'm an amazing marketer, remind yourself of what you've done before, that starts to seep into your subconscious. You start to believe and feel like you're a great marketer again. And while we're still here, I want to throw this back over to you, Chris, because this is kind of the distinction that you made from letting those negative beliefs create the negative feelings that gave you the negative results. You shifted it and you were like, you know what? That's not true. I don't have to believe those thoughts. I can create these new thoughts, which led to new feelings, which gave you a whole new energy and gave you new results. Right. If you can kind of share what you went through there.
Yeah. So what had happened was, when after I had lost so much of my business and went into where I was living off my life savings, trying to pivot, but not being able to pivot, and then started talking negatively, a lot of negative self-talk. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, that sort of thing. And it got me into a place where I didn't even want to try anymore. And my wife started to notice that big time. Like it was affecting a lot of stuff, like in our marriage and our relationship and just everything around the board. And she's like watching our savings just dwindle away. And she's like, do you even care anymore? Do you even want to like why? I don't understand why you're not even trying. Because it had gotten to that point where things were so dismal that like it was like I didn't even want to try anymore. And as I'm thinking through all this, I start having these thoughts that like my family would be so much better off if I weren't even here anymore. So I started having like these suicidal thoughts. And one day we were in the bathroom and she's like she's like crying and she's upset, like, saying like she says, I feel like you don't even love us anymore. Like you don't want to, like when I married you, you're not the same person I married. She's like, when I married you, we had these goals and these dreams, and I feel like you're just letting them just all slip away and you're not even trying anymore. And all this stuff, I looked at her and I'm like, I start crying and I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe it'd be better if I just kill myself. And as I said that, I turned around and my 15-year-old daughter at the time was standing in the doorway. And she had been standing there listening for like the last couple of minutes. I didn't even notice. I was so engulfed in the conversation with my wife. And I turned around and I saw her, and then her eyes started like swelling up and she started crying. And then it was just heartbreaking for me, like seeing that, and and I remember she just like ran towards me and she's like, Daddy, I love you. And then my wife came and she like embraced me and she's like, I love you. She's like, we love you. Like, we just, you need to change. You need to shift, you need to shift the way you're thinking. And like, just around this time is the time that I started talking with Dr. Justin and having conversations with him on the phone, like on a weekly basis. And it really changed everything for me as far as like the stuff he's talking about tonight. Life happens through you, and life doesn't happen to you. This isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. It's happening through you, that sort of thing. And like, I learned that like, my innermost dominant thoughts become my outermost tangible realities. So like he played a major part in helping me shift my mindset. And once I started shifting that, and then also like started cutting off the people in my life that were bringing me down. I had my brother and I had a couple of friends that I was talking to regularly that just didn't have that success, entrepreneurial, creative type of mindset. Like, it was the type of mindset of like, I don't want to do anything and sit around and get a paycheck sort of thing, so like cutting those types of people off from my life and starting to surround myself with people like Dr. Justin and my friend Dr. Tabor Smith and Dr. Chad Woolner and these guys, it really made a huge difference. And I saw my business like tank out, and like, I had like I had like less than $5,000 a month coming in, and that's about what it takes to run my business. So like I said, we were draining the living off of credit cards and draining the life savings. And when I made that shift, I've just progressively seen my business getting more clients and getting better and better. So it was a huge game changer, especially like, seeing like how my thoughts affected my wife and my daughter. It kind of gave me a greater purpose as well. It helped me like snap out of it that like, hey man, this isn't about you. You made a commitment to these two. You made a commitment to your wife when you married her, that we talked about it in the very beginning. Like we wanted to have kids, and we wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom and raise those children, and here she is still living up to her end of the deal. She's an amazing mom. My wife's like one of these, what I call a caregiver. Like she's constantly like, hey, what can I get for you? Are you hungry? Do you want just one of those people that's always taking care of us, my wife and my daughter and me. Cooking, cleaning, keeping the laughter that she brings into the home and all that stuff. Like, she's an amazing person. And here she is holding up her end of the deal, and I'm not. You know, I was the one. Like, I mean, I loved what I did. I love marketing. I love doing it, and I built an amazing business. And then when this happened, I got into that whole victim mentality. Everything was happening to me,
Mm-hmm.
but is because of you that I learned that life happens through me. So it was huge, but that's what happened, and how working with Dr. Justin was able to help snap me out of that. Well, I mean, the catalyst was my wife and daughter in that moment in the bathroom, but that was just the catalyst.
Yeah.
Then you have to take action, and you have to actually start changing your thought patterns, and that's not always the easiest thing to do on your own. And that's why having people like you in my life, and having other friends that have like the same type of goals and dreams that they want to pursue, is important, and being around that community of people.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And I did want you to share, because you're a real life example of this. Like, this isn't some theory that this works. Like, you went through the steps of this, and a lot of people have felt the funk going through the season in life where I haven't been able to seem to get out of this. It does come, number one, with an awareness. You got to have an awareness of your thoughts do create your reality. And that's where I go back earlier and talked about check in with your feelings. If you're feeling down and negative a lot, that's a sign you have negative thinking going on.
Hmm.
So one of the best things to do, first, get the awareness, start to try to do it on your own. But one of the best things to do is watch who you surround yourself with.
Right.
Less time with the negative people, but find those people that are uplifting that you can surround yourself with.
Right.
Chris, we started talking. You had those others, Dr. Chad, Dr. Tabor, that helped lift your level of thinking. And that's what it's all about. Find those people that inspire you, that push you. Others can pull out the best in us. That's what I love doing as a coach. Like, in my mastermind groups, we help pull out the best in each other. And that's what it's all about. Because a lot of times we want to lift up everybody else, but we leave ourselves down here. And it's hard to bring ourselves up, but surrounding yourself with a group of the right people, we all feed off of each other's energy. We all raise each other up. That old saying, rising tides lift all boats. It truly happens when you surround yourself with the right people that are thinking in the right way, that are positive, that has that energy about them, the abundance minded. They're thinking the right way. They can help shift you out of that negative thinking quickly. So definitely surround yourself with the right people is one of the fastest ways to shift out of this.
Yeah. You want to switch back, or do you have more
Yep. So I'm going to go back. So I know some people just jumped on late and have no idea what all this scribbly stuff is, but I do wanted to go back, because even with Chris there, he shifted the thoughts that were coming in. He shifted the emotions and the feelings that he was having, started to raise his vibration. He started to feel that, take better action, the positive action, and started getting positive results. So
Yeah.
that's what this is all about. So we'll stop the share here so we can go on.
Yeah, that way you can
from
see your
there.
beautiful face.
There we go.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. To that point where you're saying, like, I mean, making sure that you're around the right type of people is so important. Like, I can't even stress what a life not just a life preserver, but a lifesaver that was for me. So, and yeah, so thank you for everything that you've done. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Well, like you said, you got the awareness that came from your wife and daughter, and then you took the action. So that is a step there. People want
right.
to just get awareness, but then not move on it. No, you've got to
Mhm.
take the action. And that's where I talk from the first of this call. When you get the insights, take action on them, because that's where the
Right.
transformation happens.
Well, and that's actually a good point, because like prior to that day in the bathroom that all that happened, um, my wife and I had like previous conversation. That wasn't the first conversation, right? That was definitely the darkest conversation that we'd had.
Mhm.
But it was not the first time that that had been brought up. But to your point, I was stuck because I was trying to get out of it all by myself, sort of thing. And I just found myself relapsing back into the same thought patterns. So it was to, taking positive action was something I was not doing. I would kind of come out of that conversation with her and say, all right, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do different. I'm gonna get on it this week. And then boom, like 2 days later, right back into the same bad habits of things of not doing what I'm supposed to do. So when you're in that position and you know that, like, okay, I need to take action, what's like, but then you find yourself like constantly relapsing. Is there any way that somebody can, like, you know, I like doing these types of webinars. I'll back up for a second. I like doing these types of webinars because, like, it's almost like if you know what to do before it happens, when it's happening, you can say, hey, look, I remember Dr. Justin said this, and I'm going to do that this time around, versus like not knowing what to do and then relapsing. So, like, when someone is stuck and they want to get out, but they're relapsing, what are some things they can do to, like, trigger that positive action, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, even using that example that you did, like you were interested in changing, but you weren't truly committed. And one of the problems is, and I learned this myself, like, because I went through a near death accident, a lot of times it takes something like that that rocks us. For me, a near death accident, sometimes it's a death of a loved one. Sometimes it's a rock bottom moment like Chris had. You don't have to wait for a rock bottom moment in order to change. So you have to decide. But here's where, and I think I saw in the chat somewhere, it was like Bobby Joe was like, it's hard. It's hard to change our own thinking. That's why it's so important to ask for help. Reach out to others, because it is harder to do on our own. And it's hard to keep ourselves accountable. I talk about this a lot. It's like, if you said every morning I'm going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. and you were committed to yourself, well, every day that alarm goes off at 4:30 so I can get there at 5, there's going to be days where, you know what, I'm tired today. I don't feel good. It's too cold outside the covers. I'm just going to stay here and be warm. But if I have an accountability partner that they're going to be there at 5, I'll make sure I'll get out. Whether it's cold, whether I don't feel good, I'm tired, I'm not going to let that other person down. So that's where accountability really comes into place. A lot of times we let ourselves down before we'll let other people down. So get an accountability partner, a mastermind group, a coach, someone that can pull things out of you, because it's hard to do it on our own. And part of the reason it's so hard is because of the conditioning. So back to the drawing I showed earlier, those thoughts and feelings over time, they start to hardwire in our brain. So thoughts that fire together, wire together. They create neural pathways in our brain. So when we try to constantly make a change, a lot of times we don't stick to it because we're programmed to do the other way. We're programmed to not take action. We're programmed to procrastinate. So you have to identify and realize that is an old version of me. That's an old program. And you got to set a vision of what the new version of you is like. And that's one of the things I love to do with people is, what is the new version of you look like? The old version of you is what you no longer want to be. What does the new version look like? How do they show up? How are they there for their family? How do they show up for their business? What are their routines? What are their habits? Create a mental picture of the highest version of yourself. Start to program that into your mind. This is who I am. And you start visualizing that over and over every single day, you will start to become that. And that will override that old programming.
Oh, wow. Man, that is solid. So, yeah. So is that kind of the same thing with, like the other self-sabotaging thing we were talking about is just this negative self-talk stuff? Is that?
Yep. So, and the negative self-talk, and I just saw in the comments too. Yeah. So Patricia calls it those hello self moments. Absolutely. Insights. I call them the mind shifts, where that's why I believe in them so much. Like, that's why I call my coaching, it's mind shift coaching, mind shift mastermind, mind shift live for live events, because those mind shifts, those hello self moments are where transformation happens. Those are the wake up calls. Like when Chris actually had that moment of like, this is the moment I'm going to change. That was the catalyst that led to the change that he had. So back to your question about the negative self-talk. Number one, like we talked about, is being aware everyone has it. It's not just you, but reminding yourself of what we've talked about already, that your thoughts create your reality. So if you're having those thoughts, and we talked about the strongest frequency wins. If you have a bunch of negative thoughts, you're going to create more negative feelings and take negative action. If you override those with more positive thoughts, the strongest frequency wins. The negative thoughts can still be there, but I have more positive thoughts that are going to outweigh them. I'm going to create this positive energy, this love, this gratitude. I'm going to take great action, and I'm going to get great results. So, and that's what this is called, doing the work, because it's not easy.
Right.
Those negative thoughts have been hardwired for so long. That's our default. It's our default to basically Netflix and chill, not think about our problems, not do anything, not take the action that's going to take to get us out of this funk that we're in. So we have to do the work of actually being proactive with this, proactive with our thinking, proactive with getting ourselves to feel a certain way, proactive in having ourselves take action in that positive state. It takes work.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the mind shift mastermind and the things that you're talking about, that is something that I know people that have been through your masterminds, and just being around that myself with you and Chad, and Dr. Tabor and those guys, like, it's like being around other people has really propelled my business to another level.
Yeah.
I'm still working towards getting back to what I was prior to COVID, but from where I was, it's next level. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about that, about what Mind Shift Mastermind? First of all, I mean, I think we should let people know as well, you're actually the founder of Mind Shift International.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
and you have lots of different programs, but one of the things that you love is working with groups of people, which is why you created Mind Shift Mastermind. What is that, and what's that all about?
Yeah. And Mindshift Mastermind is one of my favorite things because mastermind groups changed my life. Like, I truly believe everyone should have a mastermind group, because when you are surrounding yourself with those people, they can actually speak life into you. When you're having those tough days and the thoughts are happening and the negative feelings are showing up, they can be the people that pull you out of the funk. And it's cool. I mean, I see it all the time. Like, I'm thinking of one guy off the top of my head that you knew before I did, that joined one of my mastermind groups, and just the life change that he's had. Because think about, just in this time that we've shared together, what if you had this every single week, going through stuff like this and challenging your thoughts, creating new thoughts, dreaming a bigger dream? That's one of the things I love helping people do, is to dream a bigger dream and then actually break it down into small steps to get to that,
Mm.
creating the belief it takes to actually make that happen. So one of the cool things that happened just today, because we share highlights, we start everything with a highlight. So that's something I would recommend. If you're in business, do highlights with your staff, highlights with your team. What great happened today? Because by doing that, that shifts the energy, shifts into positive. So we started off our call today, and there's a lady, she's in her early 70s, she's a chiropractor, been in practice over 30 years. And last year I spoke to her and she was ready to give it up. She had no savings to retire, but she was like, I'm done. Like, there's no way to move forward. She hadn't spoke to her daughter in years. They had a strained relationship. And then today on the call, she said she had her busiest day in practice, and she has a renewed love for her practice. And she just restored her relationship with her daughter. This past weekend, they actually got together, had a conversation, and restored their relationship. So that's what's cool about it, is because it doesn't affect one area of your life. When you grow, everything around you grows. Your relationships grow, your business grows, marriage, if you're married with the kids, you're better father, you're better mother. All the things grow when you grow. And that's what's cool about the mastermind, is we're all in it together. Everyone gets to contribute. It's a place where you can be seen, be heard, be loved. And that's another thing too, is business, entrepreneurship is a very lonely place. So you need to surround yourself with other people that you can share wins with, and then they can celebrate wins with you. So that's it's a container that we have. I keep a small group of people that are there. They have each other's back. They're encouraging them to hold themselves to a higher standard and to actually create amazing things in their life, business wise, personal life. And man, it's been cool to see. I've had I work with a lot of chiropractors because I attract a lot of chiropractors, but I've got people that have hit their first 7-figure years. And I've had one guy, he's in his third different round of masterminds with me. And he's like, I can't put my finger on what it is. I just know whenever I'm in your groups, my collections are higher. So I'm going to keep joining.
Right.
And it's cool because, and the reason is, and I explained to him, is because it's all energy. Your energy is higher when you surround yourself with high energy people, and high energy creates amazing results. So that's what it's about.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
speaking to that, I mean, I'm in Canada this week. I had a client fly me up here, and we've been just the two of us together, strategizing, like coming up with ideas for marketing his practice, building his business, right? But the amount of stuff that we created in just like the last 2 days of like being together is more than I could have created on my own. Being able to bounce that
Yeah.
idea off of another person. Now, I speak to that because when you're in a mastermind, like this is just two people. You've got what you have like up to 12 people in a group at a time, I
Mhm.
think, or
Yep.
something like that. You've got those 12 people that are like-minded, that are doing things in their business that you can learn from to apply in your own business. And the size of the mind is so much bigger than just like the two of us together. So
Yeah.
imagine having that every week, being able to get into a room like this, like we're doing right now. I mean, look at all these, like these people in the room. Imagine all of these people in the room, but like contributing ideas and thoughts that progress your growth, so the mastermind is super powerful. So like I'm actually going to put a link in the comments below. You're starting a brand new mastermind.
Yep.
um
Yeah. I'm going to open another group, and yeah, anyone that's interested, I do. There is an application for that because I do protect the energy of the
integrity of the
group. I
group.
want to
Yeah.
make sure, yeah, the integrity of the group. I want to make sure you're a good fit and it's a good fit for you. So again, one of the things is you got to be open-minded and coachable. You can't come in of just setting your ways and I'm not going to change. I don't get joy working with people like that anyways. I want people that are abundant minded and willing to change, willing to exchange ideas, and not just coming into the group, what can I get from this, but how can I contribute? And don't worry, some people think I don't have anything to contribute. Everybody does. And that's what's cool that I've seen in every single group. The more you give and you show up and you have that giving energy, the more you actually get in return. I mean, it's the law of reaping and sowing. The more you're reaping, the more you're going to sow. So if you show up and bring energy and speak life into other people and talk about business and shared exchange ideas, magic starts to happen. So yeah, definitely. If you're interested, yeah, he's going to drop that link, and then just do an application. And then what I'll do is I'll get on a call with you. So then that way I can tell you more about what it is. I can kind of see where you're at, what you're looking to do, and see if it's a good fit for you. And then we can go from there.
Yeah. And it's I mean, in my opinion, it's extremely affordable. So if like you're thinking this is like it's like $10,000 to do something like that, you're wrong.
Yes.
It's
So,
like
and I want to speak to that too, because I've been in $10,000 a month masterminds. I've been in one that was 50,000 for like 3 meetings. It was like quarterly meetings for, yeah, a certain amount of time. I bring the same energy into this mastermind that I've got in those very high level masterminds. But my heart is I want to make it affordable for people. So I make it very simple. It's $500 a month, and we do it for a 6-month minimum. And then we reassess from there. A lot of times the people want to stay in the same group. So we'll just keep the group going. But it's very simple. It's $500 a month. I do offer a discount. If you pay up front, it's $2,500. And yeah, I'm trying to make it very affordable for people, but still bring the same energy that I got from those very high level masterminds.
Yeah, I mean, $500 a month. I mean, I can tell you straight up, like what I've learned or what I've brought out of those, working with Dr. Justin and being in this mastermind, like it's been a game changer. Like I more than earn my return on investment on it. You know, I mean, I literally went from like making 5 grand a month to back to making 20 grand a month. You know, so $500 a month for what you're going to get out of this is a drop in the bucket, really.
Yeah.
So,
And what's cool, and it's not even, it doesn't even become about the finances. Like that lady that's in her 70s, yeah, she's having her best days in practice and the money's there, but she's just started weeping when she talked about that restored relationship with her daughter.
mm,
And how cool that, and in one of the groups there's a guy that his wife is actually going through cancer. So to have people that want to love on him and help him through that is huge right now. So there's things like that, just having a strong room of people that could just be there for you. They
right.
could have your back.
And
Again,
that's a good,
entrepreneurship's lonely.
yeah, I was gonna, yeah, that's a good point. You know, with me being like my primary thing was business, right? So that's kind of, I look at it kind of through that lens. But to your point, there are other people, and I know exactly who you're talking about, whose wife has cancer. Um, and yeah, absolutely. That's been a game changer for him being part of this, you know. So yeah, it's whatever you want to get out of it, you know.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, you know, I needed help like getting my business back on track. So
Yeah.
but yes, so there's a link in the comments. So I would, you know, apply. It's a free to apply. Just fill out the application, jump on a call with Dr. Justin, see if it's right for you. I mean, I highly encourage it.
Yeah. And what's cool about it is, again, I coach around the insights, helping people get insights, and then they take action on that insights. We share our own insights and help keep each other accountable on those insights. And just imagine that, showing up every single week getting new insights, because even this call, everybody that listened to this tonight has different things that spoke to them, those hello self moments that Patricia talked about. Every person, something different spoke to you. Well, it spoke to you for a reason. So that's what we do every single week, is just we all get insights and then we act upon them. We create amazing energy and watch amazing things happen.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey guys, we're gonna wrap things up. It's 10 o'clock Eastern time. So
Yes.
definitely, like I said, click the link. We'll send the replay out for everybody, but click the link. And if you know somebody that could benefit from what we talked about tonight, please share that replay with them. And
Yes.
yeah, and then like I said, fill out the application and see
Yeah.
if the Mind Shift Mastermind's right for you. So Dr.
Yeah.
Justin, thank you for
Or
being
even just
on.
copy that link and send it to them.
Yeah,
So
you can
just
copy
like
the
tell them,
link and
hey,
send it
you should
to
at
them.
least check this out. I can have a call with them. But I did want to thank everybody for being here. Like, I don't take this lightly. That you're here late with me, with Chris, listening to what we have to say. Like, this is why I do what I do. Like, I'm here to transform lives, to be a catalyst, to help people change their life. So I really appreciate you guys for being here. So thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here.
I mean, yeah, you think about that. It's 10 o'clock at night on. It's just in a state. Some people tune in from Australia. Sometimes it's like
Right.
5 in the
Yeah.
morning or something. So,
Yeah.
but all right, guys. Well, hey, we love each and every one of you, and love and wisdom to all of you. And Dr. Justin, thank you again for being here.
Yes. Thank you, man. Thanks for doing this. Thank you all.